So the last thing I'm going to talk about here today is combining forms. So typically when we have a root that's combined with another word part, either another word root or a suffix, a vowel is often inserted after the root. And so as you'll see here in a minute when I show you some examples, this helps us with pronunciation of medical terminology. Often the combining vowel is an O, but sometimes other vowels can be used. But O is the overwhelmingly common one that we use in combining forms. So we'll take a word root like gastro, and basically the root actually is just G-A-S-T-R. The combining form is when we add the slash and the O. Okay, so the combining form then is pronounced gastro. Okay, so we'll look at some rules here for how we combine different word parts using combining forms. There are some general rules, and sometimes where we're going to either keep or we're going to drop that vowel from the combining form. So if we're going to combine two word roots, a combining vowel is usually used even if the vowels are present at the junction. So an example here would be gastroenterology. Okay, so we have gastro, which is a root word, and then we have enterology, or entero is another root word. Ology would be the suffix meaning to study. Okay, so you could see here that if we did not have the combining form by adding that O to gastro, the word would be a little funny to pronounce. It would be gastroenterology, right? Gastroenterology. Instead, the proper way is with that O combining form, so it's pronounced gastroenterology. So when we connect a word root with a suffix, the combining vowel is used if the suffix does not begin with a vowel. And so an example of this would be the word gastropexy. Okay? Gastro, we've talked about, is the stomach. Pexy is a suffix that basically means to tack or attach. So we're gonna there's a condition in dogs that sometimes can cause their stomach to flip over on itself. And so sometimes we do a gastropexy where we tack the stomach to the side of the abdominal wall to prevent that from happening. So that's what a gastropexy is. And so you can see we have the root word and combining form gastro, and we put that with pexy. So you can see here with this example too, this would be a very hard word to pronounce if we did not have the O in there. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it on my lecture here. But the way we do that is gastropexy, and we would keep that O combining form in there. So one of the last rules here is when we're looking at connecting a word root and a suffix, and the combining vowel is usually not used if the suffix begins with a vowel. So the examples here I have is gastrictasia and gastritis. So you can see that we've taken the combining O off of the end of gastro when we combined them with the suffixes ectasia and itis. Okay, so you could, and if you look at this and think, well, if we left the O in there, we'd have gastroectasia. Okay, and that's just doesn't sound right. So it sounds a lot more normal if we have gastrictasia. And then the same could be said with gastritis. It's not gastroitis, it's gastritis. So if the suffix begins with a vowel, we generally are going to drop the O or the combining vowel. And lastly here, when we connect a prefix and a word root, we do not use a combining vowel.